Okay. Good morning, MCC.
Good morning, Matt.
So, I am here to speak a little bit about Black History Month. And, I wasn't sure what I was going to talk about today. I've been agonizing over it ever since Pastor asked me about speaking. It's been a long week for me. But one thing that's always sure, God always gives you what you need
That's
when
right.
you need it. And He gave me exactly what I wanted to speak about today. So, I had received an article this week from my friend Gina, and when I saw it, I just couldn't believe it. Virginia is set to become the first state to declare racism as a public health crisis. Yeah, yeah, that is something to clap about because Virginia has a very long history of, racism and being home of the Confederacy and just using tactics of fear to control African Americans throughout its history. So when I saw this, it just made me start thinking about my own history and my own family and the things that we've gone through in our past. I remember a story from my grandfather. He just told me in passing one day, I didn't even ask about it. And he said about my great grandfather, how he was just minding his business one day when the cops came and they arrested him for a little trumped up charge. Because, see, back then, even though slavery had ended supposedly with the 13th Amendment, there was that one little clause that said that it was still legal in the commission of a crime. And there were many African Americans back then that were arrested just for that reason, so they continued to work on things like farms or railroads and everything. And that was my grandfather. He was arrested, he was sent to one of these places to work, and when he was let go, my grandfather said he was so fearful of going back that he kept his head down for the rest of his life, just to make sure that didn't happen again. Can you imagine? Can you just imagine not being able to enjoy life? And he lived a long life, not being able to enjoy the rest of your life because you're so fearful of something like that. Can you think about the conversations that African Americans had to have back in the day like that? Or even with travel. There was a book called the Negro Motorist book. It was like the Green Book. You saw the movie. That was real. They had to think about places they could go that were safe and how to get around them, just to get around things like this. And even myself personally, we think these conversations are something that's maybe, stopped or whatever. It hasn't. These are still conversations that families are having to this day with their kids. I've even had them myself with Jonathan. Jonathan loves the police. I don't want to minimize that. Hey, go say hi to that officer, no problem. But then in the back of your mind, you're still having these things about, wow, I still have to let him know, hey, be careful. Don't say certain things. Don't make certain movements. It's that fear that's still there. Even with my own personal experience, there's a certain city in Virginia now that every time I have to go to it, I get so fearful because I've been stopped so many times in this one city. And the last time that I was stopped, I was just doing my job, just doing my usual job. And three police officers came because somebody called and said I was casing the neighborhood, looking for a house to break into. When all I was actually doing was delivering packages for Amazon. That's, that's all I was doing. And even though I showed the officer that, he still was like, he still said that to me, and I'll never forget it to this day. It actually made me start crying the minute he said it. I'm casing the neighborhood? Really? No, I'm just working, sir. But it's those type of things that make this policy so important. Because there are mental health, things that happen and things that we continue to think about and affect us to this day. And Virginia, being the leader, the first state to do something like this, oh, this is amazing. This is something that I'm hoping many other states will follow as well. Because, see, it is important. This is why Black History Month is important to a lot of us, because you get the opportunity to learn from the past and then make the changes necessary to help us in the future.
Yeah.
But see, Black History Month is not just one month. It's not something that should be celebrated just one month. It's something that should be celebrated every day. And Black history is not just something that's, it's not, it hasn't stopped. Black history is still going on every day. Things are still happening every day. So as Black History Month comes to a close, and as I finish my story here, I just want you to remember that it's policies and steps like these that Virginia right now that are making that not only helps to illuminate the things of the past, but it also shines a light on the path that we need to make going forward to make our future that much brighter. Thank you.